Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're diving into Tesla, specifically what's been going on between, let's see, June 27th and July 4th, 2025.
Yeah, quite a bit happened in that short window.
Our goal really is to cut through the noise, figure out what actually happened, and, explain what it means for you, especially if you're maybe just starting out with investing.
Exactly. We're going to pull out the key insights, help you see both the exciting stuff and the risks involved with Tesla.
Give folks some clarity.
That's the idea. Informed decisions.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's start with the positives. What's giving Tesla some positive momentum right now? I know there was a lot of buzz around the Robotaxi news initially.
Yeah, that definitely caused a stir. But what's maybe more interesting underneath is how Tesla's shoring up its strategy.
How so?
Well, first they made a pretty significant hire. Henry Kwong. He used to head up autonomy at GM Cruise.
Oh, wow. From a competitor.
Right, he's their new AI director.
Yeah.
That's a serious move, bringing in someone with that kind of direct experience. It really bolsters their AV credentials.
Yeah, signals they're doubling down on autonomy. Okay, that's a big strategic piece. What else? Any good news from key markets? China, maybe? That's been tricky for them.
Absolutely. That was the other piece of good news. June deliveries in China, they actually went up.
By how much?
Not a huge amount, 0.8% compared to last year, about 71,600 vehicles.
Okay, 0.8% sounds tiny. Why is that significant?
Because it breaks an 8-month slump there. Sales had been falling month after month. So seeing any kind of stabilization, even small, in such a critical market, that's a big relief.
Right, stops the bleeding, so to speak, shows maybe they're finding their footing against local competition.
Potentially, yeah. It's less about massive growth right now and more about resilience.
Got it. Okay, so that brings us to the other side of the coin. The valuation, the risks. That Robotaxi excitement sounds good, but what challenges popped up?
Well, those Austin trials, while exciting, they definitely highlighted the hurdles. Execution risk, regulatory risk.
What happened?
Videos started popping up showing, well, mixed performance.
Mixed how? Like glitches?
Yeah, exactly. Driving errors, going into the wrong lane, some reports of sudden unexpected braking.
Ooh, not great.
No. And that immediately got the attention of the NHTSA.
The safety regulators.
Right. And on top of that, you even have some Texas state legislators now saying, hey, maybe let's pause this until September. That's when a new state law on autonomous vehicles kicks in.
Okay. So the path to fully autonomous driving still got some bumps.
Definitely more of a marathon, not a sprint.
So how did all this, the glitches and the regulatory attention affect the stock? Did that initial Robotaxi buzz hold?
It did initially. The stock jumped like 8 or 9% on the Robotaxi news.
Oh, but
by the end of the week, it had actually dipped about 7%.
Wow, quite a swing. Why the drop then, if not just the Robotaxi issues?
It seems like those ongoing worries resurfaced. Concerns about sales in Europe or even China, despite that small uptick.
Okay.
And there was also mention of Musk-Trump tensions factoring in.
Right. Political friction, adding another layer of uncertainty for investors.
Yeah.
Potential regulatory stuff down the line.
Exactly. It just adds to the volatility picture. Yeah. So big picture. The stock's down quite a bit year to date, about 19%, I think. And June itself closed down almost 2% after these delivery numbers and regulatory headlines.
And this is happening while global car sales generally aren't looking too strong either.
Correct. Which just makes Tesla's growth path that much harder, even with their internal efforts.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for someone listening, maybe trying to make sense of all this for their own investments?
I think the main point is Tesla's still very much a high volatility stock. High potential reward, yes, but also high risk.
So caution is key.
Absolutely, especially if you're newer to investing. Careful risk management is crucial. Things like, thinking about when you buy timed entry and maybe using protective stops.
Stops to limit potential losses if the price drops sharply.
Exactly. Tools to help manage those wild swings we saw just in this 1 week.
It does raise that question, doesn't it? For someone investing for the long haul, maybe that focus on AI and autonomy, plus hope for China, maybe that still makes sense. Perhaps buying on dips?
That's the long-term bull case, yes. Holding or adding carefully.
But for everyone, short-term or long-term, really understanding and preparing for that volatility seems essential. Something to think about. New tech always sounds amazing, but getting there is rarely a straight line up, right?
It's always a journey. Strategy needs to reflect that.